Every sport has its share of criminals, from Ray Rice knocking out his girlfriend to Kobe Bryant being accused of rape. There are criminals in all sports, and MMA is no exception. This is a list of fighters that have caused more havoc outside the ring than inside. These are the biggest criminals in MMA. Joe's son. In 2008, Joe's son was arrested for felony vandalism. As a result of his plea deal, he had to give a DNA sample for the criminal database. Son's DNA came back positive for the 1990 gang rape of a woman who was walking her dog on Christmas Eve. He was charged with a litany of sexual crimes, but they were dropped due to the statute of limitations. Instead, Son was charged with felony torture, which has no statute. Joe's son was found guilty of the charge and sentenced to life in prison. While serving his time, Joe's son was also charged with the murder of his cellmate, Michael Thomas Graham. He was found guilty of beating him to death. Joe's son had competed in UFC 4 and also fought in Pride and had a record of 0 wins and 4 losses. He also starred in the Austin Powers film as Random Task. Jon Jones. In the past 5 years, Jon Jones has had his fair share of run-ins with the police, mostly involving crashing his car. In 2011, he was pulled over for recklessly driving while on his way to a strip club. Jones had a suspended license at the time, and his car was towed. Then in 2012, Jones was arrested for a DUI after crashing his car into a telephone pole. Jones also admits to snorting cocaine on multiple occasions, and earlier this year crashed his car into a pregnant woman and fled the scene. Jones was charged with a felony for the hit and run and evaded police for over 24 hours before turning himself in. Drugs were also found in his crashed car.
Shitload of condoms. Yeah, and then they come. One right here.
Jon Jones was then suspended from the UFC and stripped of his light heavyweight title.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Lee Murray. Lee Murray pulled off the biggest bank heist in British history, stealing $81 million from a Securitas depot. Murray, along with accomplices, kidnapped the bank manager's family and threatened to kill them if the manager didn't open the vault. Murray was later apprehended in Morocco, where he was found guilty of the crime and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Murray fought in the UFC with a submission win over Jorge Rivera and also fought Anderson Silva, losing a decision. Jared Wyatt. In 2010, Jared Wyatt committed one of the most disturbing murders in recent memory. According to reports, he and his sparring partner had been drinking hallucinogenic mushroom tea. Wyatt became convinced his friend was the devil and cut out his tongue and heart while he was still alive. Police arrived at the scene and found Wyatt naked and covered in blood with the heart of the victim cooking on the stove. He was sentenced to 47 years in prison for first-degree murdering involving mayhem. Wyatt had only 1 amateur fight and 1 professional fight, winning both of them. Honorable mentions. Alexander Emelianenko for being found guilty of raping his housekeeper. He was sentenced to 4.5 years in a Russian prison. Charles Crazy Horse Bennett for being arrested over 20 times in his life for various drug, battery, and burglary charges. Paul Kelly was found guilty of heroin trafficking and given 13 years in prison. War Machine for his long history of assaults, the most recent being on his ex-girlfriend Christy Mack. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe.